Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, July 24th, 2017. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm joined by Steve Helwagen live from Chicago here at Big Ten Media Days. And I'm just going to give the schedule of events today, just so the listeners know. I'm going to kick it over to Steve for the biggest storylines on offense and defense. But here's the schedule for today. Urban Meyer is going to be the last coach to go today. Save the best for last. 1:30 p.m. to 1:45 p.m. Urban Meyer will be at the podium, and then these are Central times, by the way. 1:30 p.m. Central, so 2:30 Eastern, and then Urban Meyer will be available from 2:15 Central to 3:15 Central in the breakout rooms. We're getting a lot of Urban Meyer early, and then Ohio State's players from 4:30 to 5:30 Central, 5:30, 6:30 Eastern will be available. Tyquan Lewis, Billy Price, and Chris Worley. So that is your schedule of events from today in Chicago. Steve Helwagen, there are big storylines on both sides of the ball. Let's start with offense. What are the biggest storylines as you see them on the offensive side of the football?
Well, I think it's multifaceted. I think you're talking about, first of all, Kevin Wilson, the new offensive coordinator, and, of course, Ryan Day, the new quarterbacks coach. And they're in those jobs for a reason, because the offense was completely dysfunctional last season, and that's J.T. Barrett with his throwing, which just was not on par at times last season. The pass protection was miserable down the stretch. The receivers obviously were not what they needed to be at various times, and now you're moving on without Curtis Samuel and Noah Brown, so you need new playmakers to emerge. So it's a multifaceted situation on the offense, and a lot of things need to come together and click, or it could look a lot like last season. I don't think it will. I think what we saw in the spring was very impressive and very encouraging. I would say is probably the better word, encouraging, for when they're into the season and playing the opponents that are on their schedule, that they should be able to move the ball pretty well and position themselves for a nice run here this season. So I would say the storylines on offense is J.T. Barrett, has he got all the kinks worked out? Has he got his timing down with the receivers? Who are the receivers on a week-in, week-out basis who are going to produce? Noah Brown had 4 touchdowns in one game last year and was kind of unheard of. Other than that, they need some guys to emerge. Is Mike Weber the bell cow guy, or is J.K. Dobbins or Demario McCall going to get a look? And, the offensive line, you got to fill that right guard spot. So that's those are some of the big storylines and questions that Urban's going to be answering. And the issue is nothing's really changed since spring football. I mean, other than they've had the summer workouts and they know who's been showing up and who's been improving their marks in the bench press and all these other things that they test for. But in terms of football, nothing's really changed. So people will be asking him questions, and he will be giving hopeful answers, I'm sure. And it's here in 3 days. The Buckeyes will be out on the practice field.
Yeah, it's been a relatively quiet offseason, and that's a good thing. I mean, these guys, you always worry, especially close to when camp starts. And, hey, camp hasn't started yet, so maybe I should knock on wood here. But it's been a quiet offseason for the Buckeyes, and that's a good thing. No news is good news as far as any off-the-field situations. Let's switch to the defensive side of the ball, Steve. Biggest storylines on the defensive side of the ball for the Silver Bullets.
Well, I think what's exciting about the defense, and I never did get to write this story yet, and maybe I still will, was kind of an appreciation of the defense last year. They were kind of unheralded, and they did a great job, I thought, on the whole for most of last season. Of course, Luke Fickell is gone, and they have a new linebackers coach in Bill Davis and a new coordinator, although Greg Schiano and Luke Fickell were co-coordinating that last year, however you want to put it. But I think that'll be a complete carryover from last year. The defense should again be very strong. But the two questions in my mind, first of all, Dante Booker at linebacker, he went down after the first game last year and Jerome Baker took over for him. Is Dante Booker going to be able to answer the call 12, 13 weeks in a row. Is he going to be okay? Is he going to get hurt again? And if something does happen, is Justin Hilliard the next guy in line, or a freshman like Baron Browning? So I think that's going to be interesting to see. And, of course, that secondary, you open up with Indiana and Oklahoma, who both have veteran quarterbacks. Both are going to throw the football all over the lot. And so the new starters, who appear to be Eric Smith or Jordan Fuller at safety, Damon Webb obviously back, and then the cornerback spots, Arnett, Denzel Ward, and Kendall Sheffield, and the two freshmen, Okuda and Wade. Two of those five guys really need to step up. And we're going to find out about that secondary very early, Dave. So those are probably my two biggest things. Booker, is he ready? The secondary, are they ready? And then the third thing would be the pass rush. Ohio State was middle of the pack last year, about 50th in the country in sacks. For all the bluster of the greatest defensive line in school history and blah, blah, blah. Hey, don't tell me about the pain. Just show me the baby.
I love it. Great stuff as always out of Steve Helwagen. You hit on all the high points there, my friend, and it's going to be a big day for Ohio State. It's a fun day for the fans. Enjoy Big Ten Media Days out there, Bucknutters, and the season's not too far away. We're talking Thursday, August 31st. Buckeyes head to Indiana. And it's always, pretty much horseshoe west over there. You have the OHIO around the stadium. So keep it locked to Bucknuts all day today for Big Ten Media Day coverage. Again, thanks to Steve Helwagen for his wisdom. And thanks to all the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great day. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.